Hey there, Karen here with my buddy Whiskey Sour, who's not real. If you're just tuning in right now, he's not real. But he'll be a real boy someday, like Soda was saying about the Pinocchio thing. I wrote a blog today called Who is Making You Angry? Nobody, right? You don't have anybody making you angry. Yesterday I had a chat with someone who started off the conversation with, I'm so sick of blank, I won't say his name, telling me what to do. Followed up by, he just makes my blood boil and makes me sick to my stomach. She capped it all off with, he knows how to push my buttons. These are all too familiar phrases I have used, I have heard, I have understood very well in my life, so I was very tuned into what she was saying. Well, of course, these are supposed to be metaphorical for being angry and for being upset, but when your stomach's upset and blood is boiling, and the word sick gets used twice really quickly like that to describe the feeling, somebody's bodily functions are in question, you know. As it turns out, this guy didn't get her to do what he wanted her to do, but he did end up making her feel really sick and really ill. So, as it turns out, she lost control of the situation. The phrase, he knows how to push my buttons, is a telltale part of that. That, of course, we all have these things that we have the potential, that have the potential of infuriating us. Hiccups do it for me. Because they take over and I lose control. I hate them so much. There has been an ongoing argument about whether anger is useful. I've heard this angry argument happen a lot. Whether anger is useful. Well, of course it's useful. You know, we all have it. But I've heard the debates and I have heard everyone's reasons for when to get angry and when not to get angry. We've had this discussion on here many, many times. But one thing I don't like is when it's presumed to be okay to use getting angry as a reason to get back something you believe in that's really good and has nothing to do with anger. The reason I dislike it is because if you're really passionate about changing something that's immoral, ignorant, or wrong, then I feel it kind of cross-cancels your cause when, or also cross-cancels who your character is. It just, you know, you're getting really angry at something that's supposed to be your cause is about things that are good, you know, so that it just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. It just doesn't make sense to me. I feel as though we're programmed to be angry. Like that phrase, getting angry at injustice. It's a phrase I'm annoyed by because injustice is wrong. And I would really agree with that whole thing, but I just don't like that the word justice has been hijacked and just taken around the world by the word angry. You know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. I'm a firm believer that problems can be solved without being angry. If real change is supposed to happen, it won't be anger that fixes it. And it depends on the kind of change you're talking about. That word gets thrown around a lot. But it would be, to me, it would be consolidated, intelligent action from somebody who's loving, somebody who's compassionate, and passionate people, you know. And sometimes we confuse anger with passion if we feel really passionate about something, and we've discussed that topic before as well. But I think it comes from all those kinds of people coming together for the greater good and representing good. If you're out there representing something that's really good, shouldn't you kind of look good in a way? You know, it just makes sense to me. If we're willing to support bringing goodness back, then we should be representing goodness with good things. That's maybe just my old school mentality on that, or maybe I have an old-fashioned way of looking at that, but I see something get really angry, and then I go, and you're fighting for welfare of children? Is that what's going on? Okay, that's cool, but you got a really worthy cause there. Let us know intelligently why your cause is a good cause, instead of just getting infuriated and upset by it because you've allowed your emotions to get out of control, and then maybe I don't think you're the best person to be handling that cause. Just me over here. If we think our family has been divided, should we go out there representing family by using anger to try and get family values back? That makes sense. Unless your whole family was raised on just anger, you know. Or would it be better to show a good example of family and be a good example of what family is? Let me go back to the phrase that she used. He knows how to push my buttons. You know this phrase, right? I think all of us have used that at some point in time in our life or in our relationships. He seems to know what aggravates her. He knows what annoys her. He knows what makes her angry. He knows what shuts her down. And he knows what debilitates her. But I'm still not seeing, within their whole relationship, a healing happening. I don't see things actually being fixed with, maybe they get fixed on a short-term thing because of some angry outbursts, but they're not truly healed and they're not truly fixed. And that's where I see the issue. We do this in relationships, at work, politics, religion, children. We do this with our neighbors. It kind of seeps into every aspect of society and every part of life. We seem to have become experts at knocking the chip off someone's shoulder. We know what part of their kneecap that we can slam a baseball bat into. And we know what kind of dialogue will confuse the enemy. But we don't know how to practice peace. Just don't know how to do that. Just have not figured out how to have something done peacefully, respectfully, intelligently, like an adult. So he knows how to make her shut down. But I think it's fair to say she knows how to receive the intended emotions that he's dueling out. It becomes just so classically obvious. He pushes her buttons, and then she falls into a heap on the floor. And the dialogue goes, "Same time tomorrow, honey?" "Sure, I'll see it coming. I'll recognize the dialogue, and it will crumple up at the same place in our home." And he says, "Look forward to seeing you then." Like, that is the 50s comedy version of that. But it's not really that funny, unfortunately. It's exactly the skipping record we're in. Sees the emotions coming at us, we receive them, we crumple into the floor. He goes, "Okay, I'll do this again tomorrow. And because it seemed to work, I shut you down." So when we acknowledge someone knows how to push our buttons, isn't this a realization that not only have they found our weak spot, but that we actually have one? You know, it's like when somebody manages to push my buttons, I'm angry at them for doing it, and then I'm angry I have the buttons. You know, it's like, I want a zipper. I don't want buttons anymore. But what I have done that seems to work for me is I try to find my weak spots, and I have a lot. I have buttons like everywhere, you know, just buttons for eyes, like the Tim Burton movie, just like buttons everywhere. But I'm trying to find my weak spots, and I'm trying to strengthen them. I really believe that if you have a crack in the foundation of your house, or a center beam is ready to fold, and, you know, I use the house as an analogy a lot with weakness. Wouldn't it be wise to get that fixed? And I believe that our souls and our bodies, that's our house. And that's our temple. That needs to be solid. So instead of trying to fix something that we hate in that other person, and just go on and on about how they make our blood boil, and they make us sick, and they've pushed our buttons, wouldn't it be wise to fix our cracks? And so then when their storm comes, they can't blow us down like in the Three Little Pigs, the hay house, you know. It's just not wise for us to be living in this crumpling hay house that has the potential of being blown down at any time. So I'm recognizing the things which anger me, but I am also realizing that making someone else really angry doesn't help either. It doesn't help. It doesn't invite change. And the worst part of it is it just doesn't make anybody feel good. And the whole point of living, of being on earth, is to just, we want to feel good and we want to enjoy life. So I mentioned him before, but Frank Greiner, who any of you guys that have the Playground Isolator CD, you'll know that he did that CD with me, and he also did the Public Playground Project with me, and him and I have produced many, many, many records together. We have a really good relationship. I've known him over 5 years now, and he doesn't seem to require anger to get anything in his life done. And he gets a lot done, and he has a lot of good relationships, and he just doesn't require anger. He systematically deals with the issues. He does it respectfully. He does it compassionately. He does it lovingly. He doesn't get hot-headed. Getting hot-headed to him means he has lost control of his situation and he's lost control of his emotions. So it's not even entertained as a means to get something done. He's a really good listener and he makes very good business decisions. And he'll tell you it's because that's how adults should deal with problems. Just like a bunch of little children, we're sitting there listening to Frank going, adults are supposed to deal with things maturely? What? And he doesn't think that he's doing anything outside the norm at all. He just doesn't think he's honed in on some new technique at all. He just simply deals with things systematically and with some kind of action. You know, he's very solution-oriented. So he doesn't allow the emotions to take over a conversation where he thinks that just some intellect and some logic and some love and some compassion can actually fix the situation. And I've watched him do it thousands of times now, in all the time I've known him. I do understand that it's a very popular thing to say that anger can be helpful. I understand that. I fully expect there's going to be lots of people who will respond to me either by email or by comments or whatever, who's going to say how helpful anger is. I fully expect you will say that. So, 3, 2, 1, go. I fully expect that because I've seen that before. But let me just kind of put out that fire a little bit right now by saying you most likely have, in many times in your life, had anger work for you. And it's actually changed the situation. And that's cool. That's your prerogative. You won't be wrong in saying that it has worked. It does work. I'm just pretty sure it's not as brilliant as his approach. That's all I'm saying. I think emoting and invoking anger is one approach to solving problems. I just don't feel like it's a good one. I don't feel like anger makes anyone feel good. I'm hoping we can just get past trying to control and fix everything so that we can rediscover our relationships with each other again. That would rock. We can continue to fritter away our days and just really never get anything done. We never get to live. We could do that, or we could just gain control of our emotions so that we can use them and channel them towards this greater good that we keep threatening. So today I'm signing off today, saying I'm working on my temper for when the hiccups flare up. So infuriating, my hiccups. But I signed off with a Louis L'Amour quote that I thought was really interesting. And he says, anger is a killing thing. It kills the man who angers. For each rage leaves him less than he had been before. It takes something from him. And you can't always pinpoint on a person what it has taken from them, but it has taken something. It has depleted something from them. And most people will admit the numerous times that they have become angry in their life has just taken something. And we're not even sure what that something is, but it's taken something from their soul. So for me, it's about changing perspective and changing approach. And it's kind of that old Albert Einstein thing I go back to thousands of times. It's like, if we're doing the same thing over and over again and it's not working, like, why are we doing this? This is insane. And he says it's insanity. So I think a lot of couples are doing this in relationships. You know, we're doing this in our dialogue where we just continue to get angry. We continue to use the same words. We continue to push the same buttons, and we're just stuck in this skipping record that we just can't get out of. We're on this roller coaster we cannot get off of. So I think it's just about changing perspective. That seems to be working for me anyway. And I think it's good to kind of look and find your role models around you. Who are the people in your life, maybe your mother, your grandparent, whoever it is, a friend, that you think, gosh, they seem to be dealing with things really well. They seem to be getting problems solved. What is it that they're doing? Yeah, it just might work. So anyway, there's my blog today. I hope nobody's making you too angry out there. But I will sign off, and I will talk to you guys again tomorrow. And until next time, from Whiskey Sour and me, say rock on, Whiskey. Rock on. Rock on, guys.